Ladies and gentlemen, prepare to witness the most shocking, disgusting, and hilariously human story ever told. This is the tale of how our species went from wiping with corn cobs to bidets that analyze our poop, from brushing teeth with mouse brains to whitening strips that could blind the sun. Tonight, we journey through 5,000 years of humanity's eternal war against its own stench we're still losing. When dirt was a fashion statement, a medieval European bathhouse, 1348. Steam rises, people laugh and splash. Then, it's the height of medieval Europe, and this bathhouse in London is packed tighter than a can of sardines. Lords, merchants, and even clergy are soaking together, gossiping, making deals, and yes, getting genuinely clean. But in exactly 3 weeks, every person in this room will be dead from the Black Death, and Europe will blame the baths. Priest with conviction, these dens of sin have brought God's wrath upon us. The pores opened by hot water let in the plague's evil vapors. And just like that, Europe's relationship with cleanliness died faster than its population. What followed were 400 years of strategic stink that would make a skunk weep with envy. The European hygiene horror show, the royal rot. Various perfumes were also used, as well as the practice of wearing small bags containing fragrant herbs. But even royalty couldn't escape the stench of their own making. Meet Louis XIV of France, the Sun King who literally glowed from his own body odor. His morning routine involved servants scraping the sleep from his eyes, the wax from his ears, and applying enough powder to choke a horse. But bath? Mon Dieu non. Courtier whispering, His Majesty hasn't bathed in 3 months. The smell could wake the dead or kill the living. Meanwhile, Queen Isabella of Spain made her legendary boast about bathing only twice, at birth and marriage. The Spanish court's solution? Perfumed oils kept the hair from smelling bad, and flaxseed oil worked as a hair gel. They essentially became walking potpourri arrangements. The dental disasters. But if you think their bodies were bad, their mouths were weapons of mass destruction. In ancient Egypt, around 3000 BCE, people used a mixture of crushed eggshells and bones to clean their teeth. But medieval Europeans had creative alternatives. Medieval peasant enthusiastically shouts, "Fresh mouse brain. Get your fresh mouse brain for whiter teeth." Or try our special blend of ground unicorn horn and crushed pearls. The wealthy literally ground up precious stones, thinking it would make their teeth shine. The poor settled for charcoal, ash, and the occasional prayer to Saint Apollonia, the patron saint of toothaches, who probably worked overtime during this period. The shaving savagery. Shaving was less grooming, more gambling with your life. Barbers were also surgeons, which meant the same guy removing your beard might also remove your appendix, or your head, depending on his mood. A barber surgeon cheerfully sharpening a razor. What'll it be today, good sir? A shave, a tooth extraction, or perhaps some light brain surgery. I've got one blade for all your needs. These establishments were identified by the iconic barber pole. Red for blood, white for bandages, and blue for... Well, let's just say it wasn't a good day to be a customer. The perfume pandemic. When you can't clean the outside, mask it with enough scent to kill a rhinoceros. Medieval perfumes weren't subtle. They were olfactory assault weapons. People in ancient societies lived a very different life from what is standard and common for people living today, and their solution to body odor was to create competing smells that were somehow worse. Musk from deer glands, civet from cat anuses, and ambergris from whale vomit. If that sounds appetizing, you would have been right at home in a medieval court. They literally smelled like a zoo that had been hit by a perfume truck. The Global Hygiene Olympics. How the rest of the world stayed human. Asia, the cleanliness champions. While Europe was drowning in its own filth, Asia was writing the book on how to stay human. Let's travel to 8th century Japan. where cleanliness wasn't just godliness, it was everything. Japan, the ritual of purity. In Japan, bathing wasn't just about getting clean, it was about purifying your soul, your thoughts, and probably your past lives too. The ritual was so sacred that breaking bathing etiquette could literally get you exiled. Japanese bath attendant bowing respectfully. Honorable guest, you must cleanse your body completely before entering the communal waters. Your physical dirt shall not contaminate our spiritual sanctuary. They had rules for everything. Which direction to face while washing, how many times to rinse, even the proper way to fold your towel. Meanwhile, Europeans were using their shirts as both underwear and bath towels. China, the chemistry of clean. Tang Dynasty China didn't just invent the first toothbrush, they invented the concept of dental hygiene as we know it. Pig bristles attached to bamboo handles, because apparently, they understood that clean teeth were worth more than gold. Chinese scholar mixing substances. Behold, ground cuttlefish bone mixed with aromatic herbs. The perfect dentifrice for maintaining one's scholarly appearance. They had perfume fountains in their palaces. Not decorative fountains that happened to smell nice. Actual fountains that shot perfume into the air. Europe's idea of air freshening was opening a window, if they had one. Africa, the naturalist masters. Egypt, the original spa culture. Ancient Egypt wasn't just the cradle of civilization. It was the cradle of not smelling terrible. The ancient Egyptians in particular were known for their good hygiene. They, as we have seen, bathed frequently and even wore makeup. Egyptian bathhouse with servants preparing oils and natron. Egyptian priests ceremoniously, the gods smile upon those who honor their bodies as temples. Daily ablutions with natron salt, followed by oils of frankincense and myrrh. They didn't just bathe, they engineered bathing. Stone tubs with drainage systems, soap made from animal fats and alkaline salts, and the world's first toothpaste made from ingredients that would make modern dentists weep with joy or horror. Sub-Saharan Africa. Sand, smoke, and sophistication. While other continents were figuring out water, Africa was mastering the elements. Sand baths for exfoliation, smoke baths for deodorizing, and clay masks that would make modern spas jealous. African healer applying clay. The earth provides all we need. This clay draws out impurities. This smoke cleanses the spirit, and this oil protects against both the sun and unwanted advances. The Americas. Innovation by necessity. North America. Nature's pharmacy. Native American tribes turned the entire continent into their personal hygiene department. Pine needles for toothbrushes, sweetgrass for mouthwash, and porcupine quills for toothpicks, because apparently, they understood that dental health was worth the risk of being impaled. Native healer character preparing herbal mixture. The Creator provided everything we need. The pine cleanses the mouth, the sage purifies the body, and the sweat lodge purifies the soul. They had sweat lodges for full body cleansing, herbal steam baths, and an understanding of hygiene that wouldn't be matched by Europeans for another 500 years. South America, the Andean alchemy. The Inca didn't just build Machu Picchu. They built the world's most advanced hygiene system at 8,000 feet above sea level. Glacial runoff baths, coca leaf mouthwash, and yes, urine hair treatments. Incan noble proudly, our mountain streams provide the purest water. Our sacred coca provides the freshest breath, and our traditional methods provide the brightest hair. They used obsidian razors sharper than modern surgical scalpels, pumice stone exfoliation, and dental practices that included flossing with llama hair. Don't ask how they obtained it, and definitely don't ask how they cleaned it first. Oceania. Island ingenuity. Australia, the bush spa. Aboriginal Australians turned the entire outback into a personal care center. Eucalyptus for everything. breath mints, antiseptic, deodorant, and probably spiritual enlightenment. Aboriginal elder chewing eucalyptus. The land teaches us everything. This bark cleans the teeth, this clay heals the skin, and this plant keeps the insects away. Mostly. They had activated charcoal teeth whitening 40,000 years before Instagram influencers pretended to invent it. Pacific Islands, shell game surgery. Pacific Islanders took working with what you have to an artistic level. Shark teeth razors, shell scrapers, and obsidian shards that could split atoms, or at least split hairs. Islander holding up a shark tooth. The ocean provides all tools. This tooth shaves closer than any metal. This shell smooths rougher than any stone. They also invented the smoke bath, essentially a dry sauna that deodorized without requiring fresh water, which was precious on islands. Efficiency and ingenuity that would make modern engineers proud. The hygiene revolution. How we went from gross to glorious. The Great Awakening. The 19th century was when humanity finally looked in the mirror and said, "Dear God, what have we become?" The Industrial Revolution didn't just change how we worked. It changed how we smelled. The Germ Theory Revolution. Dr. Semmelweis passionately, "Gentlemen, these invisible particles of death coat our hands. We must wash with chlorinated lime between patients. Invisible killers? Preposterous. Next you'll tell us that bathing prevents disease." Ignaz Semmelweis was literally laughed out of the medical profession for suggesting that doctors wash their hands. He died in an asylum, probably while frantically washing his hands and muttering, "I told you so." Once people realized that germs were real, the soap industry exploded like a bubble bath in a washing machine. Suddenly, everyone wanted to sell you cleanliness. Marketing hygiene became an art form. They convinced people that being clean wasn't just healthy. It was patriotic, moral, and sexually attractive. The perfect trifecta of human motivation. The modern miracles. The toothpaste wars. The 20th century turned dental hygiene into a battlefield. Every brand claimed their paste could make your teeth whiter, your breath fresher, and your love life more successful. 1950s housewife. I switched to Gleam-O-Matic toothpaste, and now my husband notices me again. My teeth are so white. They're visible from space. They added fluoride, whiteners, tartar control, and eventually enough chemicals to power a small spacecraft. Modern toothpaste contains more ingredients than most foods, and probably tastes better than medieval cuisine. The deodorant dynasty. The invention of deodorant was humanity's declaration of war against its own armpits. Suddenly, smelling like a human was considered a social crime punishable by isolation and dating rejection. Confused shopper overwhelmingly asked, "Do I want 24-hour protection or 48-hour? Antiperspirant or deodorant? Fresh scent or mountain thunder, whatever that means?" We went from rubbing herbs under our arms to spraying aluminum compounds that could probably preserve a mummy. Progress is weird. The bathroom revolution. The modern bathroom became humanity's most private sanctuary, a place where we perform rituals that would mystify our ancestors and impress alien visitors. Modern person to smart mirror. Mirror, analyze my skin tone and recommend optimal lighting for my morning selfie. Also, start the shower at exactly 101 degrees and play my Getting Clean playlist. We have toilets that wash and dry us, toothbrushes that connect to Wi-Fi, and scales that judge us publicly on social media. Our ancestors fought dragons, we fight soap scum. Where do we go from here? The current state of clean. Today, the average person spends more on hygiene products in a year than a medieval king spent on his entire wardrobe. We have products for parts of our body that our ancestors didn't know existed. We brush our teeth with sonic vibrations, wash our hair with sulfate-free organic compounds derived from Himalayan yak milk, and moisturize with creams that cost more per ounce than gold. But here's the twist: we might be too clean. We've created a generation that's afraid of germs, obsessed with sanitization, and convinced that smelling human is somehow inhuman. A germaphobe spraying everything. Can't touch that doorknob. Can't breathe that air. Must sanitize the sanitizer. We've gone from dying of plague to dying of anxiety about plague. Evolution has a sense of humor, and it's not a good one. The microbiome wars. Scientists now tell us that we need bacteria to survive, that our obsession with cleanliness might be making us sick, and that some dirt is actually good for us. Our ancestors are probably laughing from their graves. Which, let's be honest, they probably smell better than we thought. So what have we learned from this epic journey through humanity's relationship with soap, water, and the eternal quest to not smell like a barnyard? We've learned that hygiene isn't just about health. It's about power, status, religion, science, marketing, and the fundamental human desire to be accepted by other humans who also smell decent. We've learned that every generation thinks the previous one was disgusting, and the next generation will probably think we're barbaric for using toilet paper instead of sonic cleansing rays. We've learned that whether you're brushing with pig bristles in Tang Dynasty China, rubbing yourself with sand in ancient Africa, or using a toothbrush that analyzes your saliva and texts the results to your dentist, the goal is the same. Don't let other humans know you're secretly a gross biological creature. And most importantly, we've learned that the history of hygiene is really the history of humanity itself. Our ingenuity, our vanity, our fears, our aspirations, and our eternal struggle against entropy and body odor. So the next time you're in your bathroom, surrounded by more cleaning products than a medieval apothecary could dream of, take a moment to appreciate the thousands of years of human innovation that went into keeping you from smelling like a medieval peasant. And remember, you're not just brushing your teeth. You're participating in humanity's greatest ongoing experiment. The results are still being peer-reviewed, but so far we're winning. Now go forth and stay clean, you beautiful, obsessively hygienic humans. Your ancestors would be proud and probably very confused by your electric toothbrush. This has been From Dirt to Dior, a global history of hygiene. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time, soap, and the occasional mouse brain toothpaste. Remember, cleanliness may be next to godliness, but weirdness is apparently next to both of them. Until next time, keep scrubbing, keep laughing, and keep being grateful you weren't born in medieval Europe. Smell you later, but hopefully not literally.